What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Scotian Canadian channel, and as usual, get in on the discussion down in the comments and hit that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying this content. We've got a lot to go over here. General Manager of the Montreal Canadiens, Marc Bergevin, held a pre-draft press conference today and revealed quite a bit of intriguing news. So we'll go over all of that. First, a bit of housekeeping. We got the NHL draft coming up. We'll discuss that as well, but I'm going to be appearing on Sens Talk, the YouTube channel, around 11 p.m. Atlantic time tomorrow night. The Habs should have drafted or will be drafting around then. They've got the 31st pick, so if you want my immediate reaction to who we draft tomorrow night, check out his YouTube channel over on Sens Talk. Now, I'm going to start with the bad news of the day, and it's news we already kind of knew, but to hear it from Marc Bergevin directly, it definitely stings. And once we get past that, we'll go into some more positive news for this team moving forward. So first, Shea Weber will not play next season. He's no doubt destined for LTIR. We're going to get his cap back, and that'll be available to the Montreal Canadiens. But simply, it stings knowing that our captain is going to be out. And we also learned that it is true. His career is very likely over. Again, I say it all the time. This is a legendary Canadian defenseman. Top 10 in power play goals in the history of the NHL from defensemen. The way he plays the game, he sacrificed his body his entire career. Marc Bergevin even saying that, Shea's a man of few words, and Bergevin didn't even know the full extent of the pain that Weber was enduring through these playoffs. And once he found out, he was quite surprised. Shea's dealing with lingering foot problems, an ankle issue, lingering knee problems, and of course now the thumb as well. And it just goes to show you what, quality of defenseman he is, being able to play the way he did through these most recent playoffs despite all those injuries. But over a long career of all those block shots, all those big hits he laid on his opponents coming in the blue line, I think his shot as well took a lot out of him. The way he had to, put all his weight into it, put all that weight on the one knee, and the ankle, and yeah, it's a real shame to see how his career is kind of ending not on his terms. But you know what? I'm so thankful he got the playoff run that he did towards the end. The Stanley Cup would have been the ultimate prize. Sucked to see him, so emotional at the end. We all know why. But at least he got that cup run. Imagine getting this news about Shea Weber after the season had we been eliminated by the Leafs or had we not made the playoffs or whatever. It would have stung even more. But the fact he got to go on this epic run and show the quality of defenseman and leader and captain and person he is, the toughness through that run, I think is something he'll end up cherishing, and I know I will end up cherishing for a long time. This Canadiens organization has been so fortunate to have Shea Weber as captain as long as we have, and I'm sure his impact will be felt throughout this organization, this franchise, throughout this current team, the young guys, for many, many more years to come, and I'm sure Shea Weber will still be around the team in some capacity. But until then, thanks for everything, Shea. You're an absolute beast. I still cannot believe we ended up adding him to our roster those few years ago in the PK Subban deal. It's so thankful that he got to spend half of his career in Montreal. Now, some good news for the Habs. Jonathan Drouin, according to Marc Bergevin, is refreshed, ready to go, and will return next season. This just makes me so happy. I've always been a big Jonathan Drouin guy. I know his career has had ups and downs, but I'm very excited to see what he can do back in Blue, Blanc et Rouge, refreshed, feeling good about himself, and ready to go. He played some of, stints of his best hockey the last couple seasons. He just is always dealing with some sort of, inconsistency, woes, or what have you. But I'm really hoping that we see Jonathan Drouin come back on some kind of revenge tour, ready to go, his mind in it, his body in it. And I'm just so excited to hear that he's feeling a lot better. It's a definite relief. And his status was up in the air. We weren't sure if he'd be back at all. We weren't sure if he'd be selected by Seattle. We weren't sure if he'd be traded or bought out. But you know what? I'm very hopeful and thankful to see that he'll get another kick at the can with the Montreal Canadiens. I know it means a lot to him to be a Montreal Canadian, so I'm really excited to have him back. Now, another piece of news, which is actually Carey Price I mean, he's got some time to heal up here, but turns out he's only going to, his recovery time is only 6 to 8 weeks. Mark Bergevin and Carey Price played the expansion draft perfectly. Ron Francis even saying himself apparently that he was frustrated that the Montreal Canadiens didn't play to the spirit of the expansion draft because of what they did. Come on, man. What is the spirit of the expansion draft? Essentially blackmailing teams into giving you more than just a player that they can select from you in the draft? Like, give me a break. Welcome to the NHL, and welcome to dealing with negotiations on the other side of the table from Marc Bergevin. Seriously, get used to it. Absolutely love what Montreal did. And if Tampa's allowed to find loopholes in the salary cap to go into the playoffs 20 mil over, and they get celebrated for it apparently, then the Montreal Canadiens should no doubt get credit for doing everything in their power to keep the vast majority of their team together. And they managed to do that. Cale Fleury is a big loss. I've mentioned I really like him as a prospect. But keeping Carey Price and Price waiving his no-move clause so we can protect Jake Allen and keep one of the best goaltending duos in the NHL together, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Carey deserves the vast majority of the credit here for it being an idea from him directly, but you love to see it. Now, with the NHL draft, I mentioned it briefly. It's coming up. We have 11 picks. We pick 31st. Technically, though, we were picking 30th because Arizona had their first round draft pick confiscated due to that scouting, fiasco from a couple years ago. The NHL took their first round pick for the 2021 draft away from them. So we have the 30th pick. And so that'll be our first one. And then following that, we've got a couple more in the second and third rounds, which is absolutely fantastic. Trevor Timmins is going to be looking to add the best players available, but he mentioned he also has some holes to fill. That's Trevor Timmins, the head of scouting and an assistant general manager for the Montreal Canadiens. And I have no doubt they're going to be looking to fill that right side defense area of their prospect pool. We've got numerous prospects in absolutely every other position. I definitely can see them going right D, maybe grab another goalie, and then of course go for some centers and then some skill players as well. It's going to be very exciting, and typically what I do is after the draft's over, I'll do an in-depth breakdown of the first round draft pick that the Montreal Canadiens chose, and then I'll also do another video breaking down absolutely every pick that the Habs made in the NHL entry draft. So keep an eye out for that. And then following the entry draft, we have free agency approaching. Montreal, with Weber on long-term injured reserve, have somewhere between 21 to 23 million in cap space available to them. And Marc Bergevin has said if there's a player out there that they can acquire to bring them to the cap ceiling, they will absolutely do it. But you don't just do it irresponsibly. You don't spend to the cap just because. You have to find the right players. Bergevin has always had this mentality, and it's worked out for us. So we'll see who he targets. There's lots of big names out there, whether it's Dougie Hamilton, Seth Jones, Tyler Bertuzzi. I know Tarasenko's available. There's been rumors about Mike Hoffman coming to Montreal, or Christian Dvorak, a young, skilled two-way center, or maybe even Rasmus Ristolainen, a right-handed defenseman, to help fill that void from Shea Weber. So between free agency and the trade market, there are lots of possibilities and lots of names out there. I'll be here to break it down, whatever happens through free agency, but Bergevin's got a lot of work ahead of him. He has the Arturi Lehkonen and Jesperi Kotkaniemi restricted free agents to re-sign. Both of those guys looking for new contracts. Then he also has Yoel Armia, the unrestricted free agent, who they protected in the expansion draft. They're no doubt going to want to lock up, and I really hope they can. I love Yoel Armia. Just such a versatile player, underrated skill, underrated shot, and so strong defensively, and just limits the time and space for guys around him. He's a key piece of this team, and I really hope we can find a way to extend him. Then there's also Corey Perry, who Bergevin has mentioned he is very interested in bringing back, and that's another guy I would absolutely love to see play in Montreal for another season. And then with Shea Weber out, we definitely have a hole on right side defense that we're going to have to address. So lots to look forward to in the coming days, the next week or so. So it's going to be fun. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate all of you for coming to this channel for your Habs news. You're all the best. I love you all, seriously. And looking forward to chatting with you some more. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Get in on the discussion. Of course, hit that like and subscribe button and the bell for notifications for the Scotian Canadian channel. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Go Habs, go, baby! Woo!